Hello, everybody, and welcome to the fifth episode of the Left Click Culture Podcast. My name, as always, is Chris. Continues to be Chris. Always will be Chris. Tonight, I'm joined by our regular co-hosts, Joe and Nick.
How's it going, Chris?
Pretty good. How are you, Joe?
Going pretty well for me, man. Wrapping up a
Hello.
solid week.
Having a solid week. That's good. Howdy, Nick.
Solid week.
Grab the wrong cup. That's good. So yeah, it's been a couple weeks since you guys have last seen us, and since we've last seen your text and chat. We had a bit of a vacation break and then a recovery break following that vacation break, but we're happy to be back. Ready and willing to talk about this week's gaming news, events, and design topics. At least I am, anyway. These guys seem kind of quiet.
No,
Oh,
I was
words.
no longer with that.
A little rusty.
Oh.
That's fine. Yeah, well, welcome back, guys. So, as always, we will continue our 4-episode tradition of beginning the night with discussion about Overwatch. Specifically, the new patch that just went live this week, which added Ana, buffed Diva and Zenyatta. And those are really the noteworthy things.
Yeah. So Anna's cool. I mean, I don't know if you highlighted that video yet of how awesome I was with Pharah, but the Anna Pharah combo the other day felt pretty good. So
Yeah. What Joe's referencing is I was playing as Ana, and we were defending on Hanamura, and I kept using my ult on him because I knew he'd put it to good use, and the enemy team never even made it through the first gate. It's pretty fun.
pretty fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
was glad I
I'm
had 20 kills, no death. So what do you say?
Anna's a lot of fun so far. And she's different.
Yeah,
Um,
she is different, and it's nice.
I like her so far. No complaints.
Where do you guys see her fitting into the competitive scene?
Um, Hard to say,
Okay.
honestly, because yeah, you could use another support, and the direct kill support is nice. Um, However, if someone's trying to play sniper and they're good at sniper, I think they're just gonna go with Widowmaker, and someone else will play support. So it's
Yeah,
hard to say. I think.
I agree. I think the important thing to remember with Ana is she's not a primary healer or damage dealer, so you're still going to need a primary healer in addition to Ana in order to be an effective support. She's best used in conjunction with a Mercy or a Lucio, not by herself. I don't think that's come as a surprise to anybody, really.
No, I don't know. It's hard to tell. She's only been out less than a week, so
Yeah, this is true too.
I think it'll take some time for people to, see how she's really supposed to be played and adapt to that. But
Right.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is that she's kind of like weak, but her buff is strong. And I
Yeah.
think her buffs are really what she's meant for. It's like a really buffy character. So like, I remember when we were encountering that like Reinhardt, right? And he kept having that buff, and it made him pretty powerful.
Yeah,
Like,
Reinhardt's a pain in the ass when he has that
yeah.
Uber.
So it's that Uber, right? And then she also has like the stun too, which is very effective, like especially on a group, right? So I think it's a situational character, maybe.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
there's a certain point where you want to take that advantage of that like rush or that stun and kind of
Mhm.
go for it.
Yeah, it feels really good to shut down an alt as Ana with your little sleeping needle. No more high noon for McCree or for McCree. Soldiers suddenly doesn't have you in his sights. It's great. It's a really satisfying feeling.
You think it's more of an attack than a defend?
Ana?
Yeah.
No, if anything, I'd say she's more defense. I think snipers in general are better suited to defense unless you're like countering.
Yeah, like your point there at the end though, like what if she's like using her stun to counter ults at the end of a checkpoint or like something like that?
I think that point is true on both offense and defense because there's always going to be situations where you want to stop somebody from using their alt.
Yeah.
So I think on offense and defense, it's really important to know to save that stun or to be aware of about when people are getting their alts or when they could have their alts in order to stop them from using that rather than just putting to sleep an annoying tracer or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that comes with player skill. She's actually listed as a 3-star difficulty hero, which is the highest difficulty a hero can be given in Overwatch.
Hmm.
And I think rightfully so, because you have to juggle dots and hots, and you have to know when to use that stun, and make sure you throw out your grenade so that your allies take more healing and your enemies take less healing, and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, like where's that rating generated?
It's just by Blizzard. They classify heroes difficulty. Like Soldier is a 1-star, I think.
But where can I find that information?
Oh, you can find that on the hero info page. Like once you go to look
Oh,
at their
okay.
abilities, it'll be up on the top left. You'll see a little star count.
Okay. That's interesting. I haven't really looked at that before.
Yeah, you might laugh at some of them because you've been playing for long enough at this point. You just be like, oh, that person's supposed to be kind of hard. I didn't really know that. I forgot to mute. Push bullet again.
Pharaoh's
Oops.
1-star, so that's how good I am at this game.
Solid.
Yeah, and I mean, she's good. I think she's very good, but I don't think she's nearly as good as she'll be in a month because I feel like Blizzard might have the same approach that League does to releasing new heroes. That when they get released, they tend to be very overpowered compared to what they've been testing on their internal servers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just go from there in terms of balancing.
Yeah. You could say that's true too with Blizzard balancing. They're known for doing that in WoW. They'll release something at a higher difficulty and then they'll scale it back if they need to. They'd rather it be too hard to start than too easy and just have people plow through it, at least in relation to WoW.
Makes sense though.
Mm. I'm okay with it. I think we're really going to see people come to like understand her potential after she's been out for longer than a week. But yeah, as of right now, she's just a very niche support, a very niche secondary support. And people
Hey,
who
you're
think
niche, man.
I am, this is true. Yeah, people who think she's going to be like their next great support who deals all this damage and deals tons of healing are going to be a little bit disappointed, I think.
Yeah, definitely disappointed.
Yeah. I know I was disappointed by her dot. It doesn't last as long as I thought it was going to or deal as much damage as I thought. But it makes sense because she has a support.
I mean, if you like to sit behind and kind of like shoot spitballs at people and heal, it's
Yeah.
great class.
Yeah, that's essentially what she does.
The problem I have, well, I don't have a problem with it, is that I don't think people fully understand that you need to be in a line of sight in order to heal for the most part. Like, I can't heal you if you're out of my line of sight.
Yeah, if I can't shoot you, I can't heal you. That's how she works. And that is what it is. People come to understand it. They might be kind of used to it from Lucio, because if he can't see you, he can't heal you, that kind of thing.
It's like when I played Reinhardt, ever since launch, this giant fucking rectangle that blocks bullets, let's not stand behind that and just get shot.
Yeah.
It bothers me so much.
You've got your Live Lords and all those kind of people who play quick play.
Yeah, dude.
And
Quick
even
plays
competitive
the
now.
shit, man. That's where all the heroes are. The real heroes and
God,
heroines.
I played 2 of the most frustrating games I've played in Overwatch last night in quick play. Just the amount of stupidity on both teams I got, just out of this world. We just got raffle stomped on both maps. It was god awful.
God awful.
But yeah, speaking of supports, her fellow support Zenyatta got some nice buffs. His orbs now travel faster, at least Discord and Harmony do, and his movement speed was increased during his ult, which I think you can pretty safely say was an unnecessary change. He wasn't too slow beforehand. He moved at a normal pace. He was able to keep up with his team, heal, and all that kind of fun stuff. And the best reason I've seen for them upping his movement speed is that Blizzard does this kind of stuff to just generate interest in heroes they feel are fine but are underused or have been panned on by the community. So they give him little buffs like making his orbs fly faster and his movement speed increase during his ult in order to just generate interest in playing that hero again. I think that's kind of neat.
Yeah, no, I don't want to say that they're only doing it to increase, people playing him, because I feel like he's a very good hero. If you know how to play him right. I just think that for what he was very easy to kill. I don't want to say counter necessarily, but
Yeah,
he was squishy.
oh yeah. The
In
50
a,
shields help a little bit without making it overpowered.
yeah, agreed. Um, but if you find someone that knows how to play him right, it can make a big difference. I feel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the guys that was on the enemy team in those matches that I got Ralph Stompton last night was a really good Zenyatta. Dude just didn't miss a ball. It was super annoying.
Yeah, actually, like I really enjoyed it playing him the other day when I briefly did,
Mhm.
because I just love that him, like especially just how effective he is. I feel like at damage and
Yeah.
overall, he's just really like a really not versatile, but like kind of what is the word I'm searching for? Agile class, I would say. You know, as far as
Mhm.
damage output to health output, he can really pack it a punch.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that people underestimate. It's just personally when I go Zenyatta, it's because okay, we need a little bit of healing, but we need that extra damage, like help push through a point. Or if it's a tank heavy team, you throw Discord on the tanks, make it that much easier for the DPS to melt them down. In addition to dealing your own damage, which often helps out. And those are the kind of times when I pick Zenyatta, personally, is to help like break a chokehold or to break a heavy defense.
I pick him when I want to heal, but when I also want to, you know, kill things because you're not really going to do much healing as him.
No,
In all honesty.
no, I think a seal could still use a little bit of a buff, his base heal, just so that you feel you're getting a little bit more, because it's really easy to
He
just.
he he has the same issue to me that Ana has currently. Is like I can't heal you if I can't see you.
Well, you can for a
In a
little bit.
sense,
It breaks after a certain
like
time of breaking line of
I
sight.
can't get to heal you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can't.
At what
So.
point does that become the responsibility of the person you're healing, though, rather than your responsibility?
When I have an orb on you and you're still constantly flying
I
away
need
and then
healing. I need
complaining,
healing. I need
Ha
healing.
what's that?
ha
You're halfway across the map. There's nothing I can do to
ha.
help you. Gotta love those people.
I never get healed
Right.
though. That's the truth, man. It's the fact of Overwatch. I wish I could see my healing given. You know what I mean?
Your
As
healing
an
received, you mean?
analytic. Huh?
Your healing you received, you mean?
Yeah. That.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be higher than you think.
No. No. Let's not defend the healers, man.
Considering I practically main a healer, yeah, I'm gonna
All
be a
Clear
bit
all
lives.
classes
defensive.
matter, Chris.
They do. Everyone has their role. Even the blue classes. Yeah, I think Zenyatta feels a lot better. He feels more responsive. I still don't understand the speed boost. The 50 shields are
And
nice. I'm not
personally,
complaining about the speed boost. It's nice.
I liked him before.
Yeah, I did too. I didn't see any
The only
problems with
issue I
him.
had with him before was that he just died so incredibly easy.
Yeah, super squishy, like
Other
bodied
than
by
that,
Widow.
my favorite thing absolutely to do with him is put an orb of discord on like a Reinhardt. Like you're just outside of his swinging power and just obliterate him because he doesn't understand how Zenyatta really works.
Yeah, just backpedal and continue to shoot orbs at him.
Right.
That's nice. Let's see, who else? Oh, Diva is the other
Oh
person
my
we gotta talk
God.
about.
All praise Diva. Like
I haven't had a
I-
chance to play Diva yet
I,
after
I
her
love
buffs.
I loved Diva like before. 'Cause, like she was just I don't want to say loved. I enjoyed playing her, and like with the buffs, it makes her much more fun to play and better, and makes more sense to me.
Alright, since you're the only one here who's probably played as Diva, you want to talk about it a little
So
bit?
so the big changes that she had is her secondary ability, which was her shield. I don't know what it's called offhand. Before, once you press it, it lasted for 4 seconds. You didn't get a option to, get rid of it or anything like that. After the change, at least in my eyes, this is the big change. After the change, it's toggleable. So you press it, you hold it. It stays on as long as you hold it. Lasts up to I think 4 or 5 seconds total, and it recharges if you're not holding it. So you want to use it for a second to deflect or absorb like a rocket. You can do that, let go of it, and it goes away and it'll charge back.
Okay.
Which is huge to me because as a tank, especially having played a lot of Reinhardt, I can bring my Reinhardt shield up whenever I want, and block damage. I don't have to have it up at all time. Whereas with D.Va, if I was trying to deflect one thing, I had to activate my shield and be up for 4 seconds, essentially almost wasting
Yeah.
the entire shield. Which, to me, I see what they were going for. However, I didn't necessarily think it worked well. But I think that her change with that, alone could have made a big difference. They also buffed her damage by a bit, I believe. They decreased the time for her ult from 4 seconds to 3 seconds by the time it explodes, which I think is a pretty big change because before, unless you got lucky, you wouldn't really get any kills with your ult, simply because it was more of a I want to clear out the point and make everybody run away type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now you can actually get a decent amount of kills with it.
Yeah, and so that you can live after using it.
And the other big change was it doesn't hurt you now when you use your ult, which to me that's another pretty decent change because when using your ult before, you essentially you had to run away as fast as you can before it killed you. It didn't injure anyone else on your team, just you.
Yeah.
Which I get why they would have done that, but I think that it was almost an unnecessary thing to have. So I'm glad they changed that.
Yeah, most people seem to be pretty happy with that as well. At least from what I've seen.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be playing a lot more D.Va going forward as a tank, just because having played all the tanks except Zarya on a pretty above average amount, she was definitely the most underwhelming. She didn't take skill, but even without the no skill barrier, she didn't really perform well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Blizzards, but I think she'll bump back up with the Reinhardts and the Roadhogs.
Yeah, she was very much like, because of the nature of how her shield worked, it was a get in, get out kind of tank, which is weird for a tank. Now has a lot more sustainability within fights, and it's nice to see that she's viable again.
Yeah, no, for sure. I like that. She feels like she's doing a decent amount of damage now, whereas before it was you're mostly trying to just pick away at the health.
Yeah. Which is really hard to do unless you're right in their face, which you can't shield yourself from because your shield lasted 4 seconds. And people will just wait till your shield drops to shoot you again.
Exactly.
So yeah, very much, these changes are very much so welcome for D.Va, I think, for most people.
Yeah.
The other big change is they made alts cost more for healing, for self-healing champions, so anybody that can heal themselves, your ult will cost more. I think that's okay.
Yeah, I like
that. It's nice to see Roadhog get his alt less often, because he was getting it way too often, in my opinion.
I don't want to say he was getting it too often. He was, in a sense. I think that people kind of maybe not necessarily misunderstood how you should play against him. But, if you're pecking away half his health and letting him run away, then...
Yeah, not finishing him off.
You're not playing against him how you should be.
Yeah, that's fair.
I definitely think that the increase was needed on self-healing because self-healing is way too easy now.
Yeah.
Having played a lot of Roadhog, it's nuts how often I can get down to like 200 out of the 600 health and then just heal myself back up in like a minute.
Yeah.
No, I'm open to it and I'm glad they did it.
Yeah. Other notable changes I would say is that Mercy's damage boost now deals 50% increased damage up from 30% increased damage, which is pretty neat. They did it to incentivize Mercy's to actually use the damage boost rather than just pulling out her pistol and damaging people herself, which I still do anyway because it's tough. It's a judgment call when you use the damage boost.
Get killed by a Mercy, that's embarrassing.
Kind of is. And then the other one being that McCree's pistol, its damage fall off changed to where it maintains damage at long distance but loses it at extreme distance. So it's not as much of a deagle anymore. But
I've actually heard a bunch of mainly on the subreddit, which I don't know, 75% of the time they have a valid case. Um, that he is still somewhat overpowered. Like he went back to being overpowered in certain ranges because they just can't seem to find a medium ground. Now I haven't played much of him because I'm just not very good at him, honestly.
Mm.
But I can see how people would feel that way.
My question is, his revolver is designed to be like high damage at range, but it should also like it's still a like high caliber bullet, so it's gonna still do damage even close up. Do you think that if they changed the recoil reset on the pistol, if that would help offset the damage at range? Maybe that would help them find a middle ground.
Maybe. I think that part of the problem that I think with characters like him and even maybe like Genji is that um, having 20 tick servers doesn't help
Especially in a competitive mode.
anything.
No, it really doesn't.
So I don't know. I think they need to work on that or anything, to be completely honest. That's a whole different story.
That's a very relevant story. We've been playing more competitive lately. They've still been feeling things out for this first competitive season. It'd be nice to see it increased for both quick play and competitive, but I think definitely for competitive, you need.
Yeah, I think they're at a point where like they understand people aren't going to leave this game anytime soon. Like,
yeah.
No matter what people say.
Well, I would say they have a deadline approaching, at least on consoles, with Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty approaching.
Consoles, yeah, but when I hate to say it, but like the game's made for obviously PC. Like I feel like it was released for console just because they could. And why not?
Yeah.
Just more money. But this game is not going to thrive because of their console base.
Yeah, I would agree. Just out of curiosity, since we're mentioning server tick rates, what would you guys consider the like lowest acceptable tick rate for a competitive server?
64.
64.
I mean, that's what CS:GO is at matchmaking. I understand it's not CS:GO; it's a different game, but it's still the same general concept. That
yeah. That's interesting that you say that, because even those who like take CS:GO seriously don't use 64 tick servers.
No, but I think that's just a start.
You think it'd be 3 times the tick rate would be a good place to start, updating 3 times as often as they currently do.
I mean, is Overwatch as like, I mean, I feel like CS:GO is kind of a little more like direct as far as like the aiming and the damage dealt, right? But a 64 tick Overwatch might work better as a game, just overall damage.
Oh, here's a good comparison. I know that people don't want to compare games, but
I think people love comparing games.
TF2 tick rate is 66. So
that's weird.
We're comparing, TF2 obviously gets a pretty huge comparison to Overwatch.
Pretty fair comparison.
But I think it's pretty safe to say that it should be at least that.
You're quiet, Nick. Did you move away from your mic?
No.
Oh.
I don't know what happened. But
there you go. You just got louder.
I don't know. It's definitely something that needs to be increased, and I think increased soon.
Yeah, I think they're paying attention to feedback they have so far. So hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed.
I really don't understand that. Why it's
20?
Yeah. Why was this 20? Some kind of agreement with some like server company to get cheap servers? Or like...
Do you think again that's a console thing?
I think
they had to make 20 for consoles.
No, because the thing that makes me say no right away without even hesitating is the fact that when it comes to balancing and patching, yeah, they're two different things. They've came out and said that the games are going to be balanced differently. So in my eyes, they've already separated the two communities into, other things where PC should have higher tick rate.
Yeah.
Every game. But,
I think console players would. It's something that they'd appreciate too. Everybody loves a game feeling more responsive.
As much as I don't like, I don't want to be like PC Master Race because I play like Call of Duty and stuff on console and whatnot. But I don't. It goes back to the point I made where I just don't see this game going very far on console. So in my eyes,
I think
if I
that's
were
fair
them,
because I don't either.
I wouldn't put as nearly as much resources in console.
Yeah, this could possibly lead into a discussion too about a problem that Blizzard has in general about designing games for casual audiences and then expecting them to be competitive hits and esports, players within that market. It's almost hyperbolic in the sense.
I think a lot of games are doing that now, though.
Yeah,
They're designed for casual, and they try to force the competitiveness on it.
yeah, they're almost shooting themselves in the foot if they would just acknowledge it as a competitive thing by the start, design it about competitive things, and just made the mechanics casual friendly. Maybe they'd be better off. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't make games.
look at the game. When it comes to like making competitive games and esport friendly games, look at the games that are very popular right now. The big three are not including Overwatch. The big three are CS:GO, Dota, and Dota and League. Essentially, are the same thing. They're both MOBAs. What do the three of them have in common when it comes to competitiveness?
They're all very high skill cap games.
They're high skill cap games where the game you play casually is the same exact game you play competitively. The game is made competitive at its core. Now, Overwatch, you can argue, is the same way. However,
I disagree. I think it's made casual at its core. Same with Heroes of the Storm.
I'm saying in like comparing how competitive plays to casual, it's very similar, in a sense. Yes, there's some slight tweaks and rule changes, but at its core, it is casual. But the casual and competitive mode are pretty similar. You're playing the same game in some sense.
Yeah, you're saying the game loop doesn't change.
Yeah.
Just in the game, but everything else about it pretty much does. It's an interesting conundrum that Blizzard presents themselves with, is catering to the largest possible audience in order to achieve potential financial success, and then trying to shape this, semi-rigid product they've made to shoehorn it into an esports setting.
It kind of sounds like World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
That's the big comparison I make to that is Call of Duty. I've been watching competitive Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2, and it's the Call of Duty is this very casual, broad game that has all these intricate things in it, and different things you can play and use, and and then when you get to competitive, it's so toned down that over the years they've tried to make it more casual friendly, and it just doesn't work like that because I think companies have started to realize that if you try and make a casual game and make it competitive without making any sort of rule changes or stuff like that, it's not competitive. Not how it works.
Yeah.
Competitiveness in a game requires some sort of skill.
Requires stability, lack of RNG, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Cough, cough, Hearthstone.
Yeah. What now?
Yeah, I just brought it up because it's a point I've heard before, and I think it's fairly interesting. I was just curious to see what you guys thought about it.
Well, what?
It's pretty much
just about that Blizzard competitive casual balance that they're trying to strike.
You mean that they've been trying to strike for the past 7 years?
Yeah.
Every game they've made since?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I hate it, so.
That's Joe's opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm adamantly against the outcome of the World of Warcraft downfall.
Yeah.
As Austin and I were talking about the other day, we were literally looking at it like before MOP was like the big incline after their big downfall, and then right after, like 4 months into the content, they literally dropped like half their user base again. So, I mean, I know that, it's great, casual people can play, but oh my God, can we cater to the people that are actually carrying your game, please? But yeah, that's World of Warcraft, and then they kind of take the same thing with Overwatch, where they're like, let's make everybody happy. But the real power behind it is the people that take the game really seriously, I feel like.
Yeah.
And
people are gonna stick around during those lulls.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like catering. They say in business, it's like you have 20% of your 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers, right? So
Yeah.
it's that 20% that really gives a shit about your game and the lore and the content. They're going to be the ones that are going to stick through it. When that 80% is kind of just like, okay, well, the next game is out. Let's go play that.
Yeah,
And it's like that's what they keep missing. They keep missing the fact that, even though they get these huge sales from thousands and millions of people, it's like those people aren't going to stick around all the time. And what you're doing is kind of destroying the audience you had that was your 20%. Now it's more like 5, you know. So,
yeah. Yeah,
but I
no,
mean, I don't know.
that's a
I don't
fair
make
point.
decisions for them, so
Yeah, they're still making buku bucks.
yeah. If that's what it's about, then great. But I would hope it's more about making, quality at this point in their age.
Yeah, I think they're trying, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a quality game. It's not as
Difficult as it once was.
yeah.
Engaging.
Same thing with Overwatch. Like it's a really good game, and but it's just like the skill cap. I don't feel like it's more about your teamwork in the scenario than it is about individual skill. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's absolutely true.
I
You need to
I
perform well as an individual, but at the end of the day, it comes down to like how well you play together.
I agree to an extent. I think
Well,
that in Overwatch there are certain moments in every game where an individual can make a big difference. The big thing that I've seen people, make a key point in saying is you can get as many kills as you want, but the number one indicator of a good player and a bad player is how many deaths they're getting. Your main goal in Overwatch should be to die the least amount of times as possible because if you're dying more often, you're not in those team fights and you're not with the rest of your team.
Yeah.
And I've seen situations where good players have showed how easy it is to get out of situations where um, they're dying every other minute, and it's all about staying alive and very good players in this game have showed that it's not an easy thing to do unless you're very skilled.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially if you're
that's
a support.
true. That's super true. But like, at the same point, it's like in Counter Strike, if you're that good, you can carry your team.
Yeah,
You know what I
no,
mean? And I know
in this game, you definitely can.
there's like a
Not,
diminishing returns on skill. You know what I mean? So like
yeah,
the way to put it is like they say that like after a certain IQ, you're only like that much smarter, right? And like they only see like a certain level of actual success after that is relative. And so like in this, Overwatch, the IQ is much lower than Counter Strike as far as your skill to output over the game. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, at its heart, yeah, it is a team game. It really is, and you're not
Yeah.
going to win without a good team.
Mm.
But at the same time, I think that if you are that good in playing this game, you definitely can make a difference just on your skill alone.
Yeah. You can
Depending
make
on
a
your
difference,
role. Yeah.
but
Yeah. So speaking of Counter Strike and competitive gaming, since we last talked, Steam has made some changes to their trading API that has caused some problems for gambling sites initially, and then turns out full on led to cease and desist letters being sent to 23 different gambling sites. Not sure what
Yeah,
all you guys
they
did.
pretty much say, "Oh, hey." I look at it as they're like, okay, well, we don't want to get sued, so because we essentially not encourage, but allow underage gambling,
Yeah,
even though
we
it's not really
facilitate
gambling.
underage gambling.
It's gambling, but it isn't gambling.
in this
Um,
day and age, it's gambling, dude.
It's
it's
gambling.
not real.
Digital products
It's not real
are
world
gambling.
money, and
Yeah, but it has a perceived value.
Yeah, it's real money that
yeah,
or it's fake money that holds a real monetary value.
Yeah, and if enough people perceive that value as an actual value, then it's real. It's gambling. It's an item.
Mm.
Like you know what I mean? Like in 2016 court, you would see that shit. Like, oh, kid gets his digital item stolen. They're like, oh my God, well this is a digital item and it actually has value because 3 million people on Steam say it does.
Because there's a
So
demand for it. Yeah.
yeah, That's where we're at, I think, in the digital world.
Yeah, it
I'd agree.
was interesting to see the escalation go from, oh yeah, we're making this change so you can't do this anymore, to, yeah, so we decided you're in violations of the Steam user agreement. So if you don't close, or if you don't end these actions in 10 days, we're just going to sue you. That escalation was interesting.
Yeah, no, it's I thought it was a great thing because
Yeah,
I don't play CS anymore, but it just with the whole
fiasco.
community with that, how Twitch has been handling and stuff. It's just been
Yeah, because like 90% of the CS:GO streams are just gambling.
correct.
Yeah, it's
And
interesting that you
they're
brought
not
up
playing the fucking game.
Twitch too, because they've banned a CS:GO gambling streamer and have since said, if you're violating Steam's terms of service, you're violating our terms of service. So clean your shit up, or else we're gonna be forced to take action.
You know, which Twitch banning people is a topic for a whole another time for me.
Okay.
Because the way Twitch works with their ban system is very not the same way across the
Yeah,
board.
it's not uniform at all. Definitely some bias in their pick bans.
It's nice to see such a large streamer get permabanned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I think we're only gonna see more of it too. I don't think a lot of people are gonna want to give up that money, essentially.
No, not at all.
And it's just like, okay, these people have built the names around themselves from gambling, from trading skins. So what happens with their audience when they don't do that anymore? Are they enough of a personality to carry it to something else, or are those audiences just going to disappear and, uh-oh, you're shit out of luck now because you were participating in things that were violating subscriber agreements anyway? It's like how, not to make a pun, but how well did you hedge your bets when you started promoting these gambling sites?
No, it'll be definitely interesting to see going forward what kind of legal action is taken against certain individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in my eyes, I definitely think there should be because of the audience that these certain individuals portray to and the things that they encourage.
Yeah.
I mean, technically speaking, they have broken the law. Now, to what extent they will be prosecuted in some sort, like I said, will yet to be seen. But it'll be interesting over the next couple months to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on this going forward.
And knowing, especially that there are more than likely, other people that are doing the same exact thing and just haven't been caught yet.
And they will be
Where
caught.
the world works.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I don't want to say unfortunate because these people chose to take these actions, and now it's coming around to bite them in the ass. It's also interesting seeing these people who are coming out of the woodwork now saying, "Oh boy, I'm really glad I didn't take that, monetary incentive to promote these sketchy sites."
Yeah, I've seen like Jericho come out and said that he's had the opportunity to do stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Even like G2A recently, I've seen a bunch of streamers just end their partnerships because
God, they were in the news again recently. Yeah.
like the money I get it why people would still be with them because certain big streamers are making $10,000 a month from just G2A alone, which
Yeah.
I mean that kind of money is hard to pass up.
It's
It really
crazy.
is. But, I see why people are doing it. And they rightfully should.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree. Yeah, they were in the news again because another indie dev claimed they got screwed out of chargebacks and game keys by G2A, which is a topic that we discussed on a previous podcast with Rad. Talked about how shitty G2A was. That was the Mighty
Surprise,
Number
they're
9
still
podcast.
shitty.
Yeah, surprise, surprise, haven't changed their ways. It'll be interesting to see if PAX allows them to sponsor the event again at all, or if they'll continue to be ignorant to these kind of violations.
Who knows?
You can hope that they wouldn't, but yeah, like you said, that money. that money, though.
It's hard to pass it up.
It is. Okay, I think that just about covers that. Unless
Yeah.
you guys have anything else to say about that.
No, I'm good.
So, before we stray too far from the whole Blizzard thing, I know we kind of got off topic a bit with the CS:GO stuff and gambling and all that kind of fun stuff. But the other big news and the other game patch this week was World of Warcraft, a game that we all know and love and sounds like we'll be returning to once more of this pre-patch event goes live and once the new expansion itself goes live. I recently had a chance to like hop in for a little bit and check out the changes just last night. Joe, I think you did too, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a brand new fucking pole arm survival for
Yeah.
my hunter. 705, better than the fucking bow I already have right now. That's mythic. So.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now, Nick, you said you hadn't had a chance to go in yet, correct?
No, I'm probably gonna check it out tomorrow.
All right, fair enough. Had you or have you read any of the stuff yet?
Yeah, I read everything, like what's in it and stuff.
Okay.
What's some good changes?
The extent of my experience with this pre-patch so far is going in and resetting up my talents on a couple of my main characters. Like I checked the rogue talents and the protection paladin talents, and that's just about it. And I've read some of the patch notes, so we'll see. It's like, again, one of those situations where it's so new that people are still kind of feeling out what works and what doesn't work. So we'll see. General player feedback is a lot of skepticism, which is normal.
I've heard there have been some pretty bad bugs though from this patch.
Yeah.
People getting. So.
That's not surprising either.
No, not at all.
No. Big patch. There's gonna be some broken shit.
They're always
Broken shit. It's so fun.
So you mentioned that you got to check out the survival hunter changes. Is there anything else that you had a chance to look at, Joe?
No.
No.
I didn't. I saw that the survival man is melee with a pole arm, and it's like, okay, I guess that's cool and stuff. I don't know, man. My attitude towards any of these games now is kind of just like, well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm at the point where at least between WoW, I can log in and I'm gonna be in a raid in a week. You know what I mean? Like, I was signed to, I forget who it was the other day, but I was just like Austin. I was like, Austin and I are like literally, we can log into WoW at this point in our lives and just gear up in a week and be in a raid, just because it's that easy and be rating the top content. So I mean, I'm not really worried about it, but I guess I never really capitalized on making character videos or class videos for it. Just don't feel like it anymore. Maybe if it was vanilla or BC.
Yeah, when your heart was still in it.
Yeah, they broke my heart. These Warcrafters.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how like the pirate rogue plays out, and how some of these changes. It's nice that you can have all 3 specs now, or 4 specs if you're a druid, and that it saves your hotbars and all that kind of fun stuff. It's nice being able to free up all my bag space from all those transmog items that I have. That new little interface is pretty nice. But as far as like lasting effects of these changes, we're not going to know for a long time until we start getting new content, because it has to be tweaked for the old content and then adjusted before the new content comes out. And it's one thing that I noticed just in picking the talents is that picking talents a little bit more difficult, because now each spec has its own talent tree. Some of the talents are shared across the different specs, but it's not just you pick the prot talent from that row, you pick the holy talent from the next row or whatever. It's prot has its own set of talents for every row, and then red has his own set of talents. And same with all the other classes, I would assume. It's like that for paladins and rogues at least. So it was definitely more difficult to like make choices. That's something I haven't been able to say in a long time when it comes to talents in WoW, because there's always been the one that you go with. And I'm sure eventually, after more time with these talents, someone will figure out that like perfect spec. But for now, I'm just like, okay, this one looks good, this one sounds good, I know how to use this one. All right, we'll test this one out and wait to see like projections that people run and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what? So you're saying they changed the talent tree from what it used to be
Yeah,
back
they
to like the older style?
it's almost kind of a hybrid style. So
See.
now you know how you have the
Open it up.
few rows of talents for each character,
Yeah.
and prior to this patch, no matter what spec you were, those talents or the talents that occupied those spots were the same, no matter what spec you were. Now the talents that are available to you in every row change depending on what spec you're currently in.
Hmm.
So, like, if you go to your hunter and you're in survival, you're gonna have different talents than if you were to switch over to marksman real quick, or if you were to switch over to beastmaster real quick. For the most part, you'll see like probably a small handful of talents that remain the same across all three specs, but each one has their own interesting choices to make.
Interesting choices. I mean, I really liked it better in the old days,
You liked the
Where-
meaningless talents,
where it was a tree.
yeah,
The meaningless talents. What are you talking about? That's how you decided what you were gonna be, man. It was a real tree. It was
yeah.
like, okay.
But yeah,
And
that's
then you could like breed together different trees.
yeah.
Make them
Blizzard.
real.
Their whole reason of switching the style of talent system though is because they felt a lot of those like passive talents were just boring and uninteresting, and
Bullshit,
that it
dude.
forced like an optimum talent pool, even though that's always going to exist no matter what the talent tree looks like. So that's why they switched to this new system where it's a lot more like important passives and active abilities rather than just like a straight up 5% bonus to haste or whatever.
Yeah.
That was their reasoning for doing away with that system in the first place.
Guess it
They
kind of
wanted your
makes
choices
sense.
to matter, every single one of them. That's why
They
you only
just
get
kind of wanted
5
to
now.
make it easier for idiots.
Kind of, if you want to phrase it like that, that is definitely an incentive is to cater to that casual player, make it harder for them to screw up.
Yeah.
When you only
Kinda.
give them 3 choices instead of, let's say, 60 choices,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to make the right choice, or at least an impactful choice. Even if it's the wrong one, it'll still do something good.
What's wrong with just the informed choice, man?
People just don't care.
They have honor talents now, too?
Yeah, that's for the actual expansion.
Okay. Great. Yeah, so I see kind of what you're talking about, but I thought they had this before, like where it was 3.
It is 3, but those 3 would stay the same no matter what talent you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
So sometimes
That's
you'll
a
have
neat little
new
change.
talents.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess it adds more flexibility, playing more towards what I'm complaining about. So
Yeah, it
makes
allows you to
sense.
cater a little bit more towards your play style.
Yeah.
Like as a rogue, I have my last tree is marked for death, death from above, and as a combat rogue, it's slice and dice. Or a combat rogue that doesn't exist anymore. As an outlaw rogue, a pirate rogue, it's slice and dice, which replaces roll the bones. As a sub rogue, I forget what it is, but it was something different, something shadow related. But I still could choose from marked for death or death from above for the other 2, and then I didn't check out assassination yet. But I'll be doing that now that I can have all 3.
Yeah, I mean, all it's gonna take is like some sims, and you can be able to tell, like, okay, careful aim or lone wolf, like which one's gonna be better.
Yeah.
And you do like lock and load, true aim. Okay, which one? You know what I mean? Just like you just sim all these out, and then you'll have your fucking.
Yeah. Problem is, it's so new that that data's not out yet. At
Well,
least
you
from
could,
what I could
there's
tell.
a bunch of simulators, so you can just throw it in there and be like, oh,
Yeah, and this conversation's really only relevant for min maxers,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
which is 2 of the 3 people in this
Yeah.
podcast, or at least I used to be a min maxer. I kind of casualed up.
kind of a piece of shit.
Well, I might change it for this pod or for this patch,
For this podcast.
this expansion. Yeah, for
Gonna
this
min-max.
podcast and this podcast alone. I'll
This
min-max.
podcast is going to be mix, so I'm going to talk really fast. That way we get through it really fast. What are we doing? Optimal target speed.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by min-maxing. Want to get the most bang for your buck? Min-max. Invest the time and do your proper research with min-max tools and simulation capabilities. Min-max. Take your game to the next level.
Jeez, Bobby, did he say WinMax? Is that a Microsoft thing?
Wouldn't be surprised.
Oh,
But yeah, changes to WoW. New, exciting. Looking forward to seeing how they play out. Like always, this just happens to be the newest, the 7th version of these changes. 7th major version of these changes, which is nuts.
Oh, that's alright. When legacy servers come back, I'll start playing World of Warcraft for serious.
So, speaking of changes to classic formulas, one of the things that we haven't had a chance to talk about and is making news everywhere is Pokemon Go.
What's Pokemon Go?
Damn right it is.
So, I am only level 2 in Pokemon Go and I've played next to none of it, but I understand we have with us an experienced Poke Trainer and Mr.
Level
Nick Dills.
19.
There you go.
Is that good?
Now, it's fun. Yeah, it's all right.
So,
Fun.
for the
So
for the 2 people living under a rock who haven't installed Pokemon Go yet, Nick, do you want to give us a quick overview
yeah,
of what
here's
Pokemon Go
here's
is?
what Pokemon Go is. It's like if you play Diablo on free on launch, essentially you get the same experience as you get when Pokemon Go launches. You open the game, and you can't get past that point at all for who knows how long, hours, days, because for some reason, which I don't blame them really, servers never, work or any game launch nowadays. I mean, it is the biggest mobile game in history, but essentially how it works is the app coordinates with Google Maps API and stuff, and maps you out, and wherever you are, you can go around to these different locations to collect like Pokeballs and stuff. They're called Pokestops. You can get Pokemon there. You get Pokeballs and other sorts of XP and stuff.
The important thing to notice, these Pokestops are actual physical real world
Yeah, you have
locations
to
that you have to go to.
You have to physically be at that location, and not like 25 yards away. You have to physically almost be like right next to it. Unless
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
game
like
is out
people's
in your driveway.
houses.
It's not well. People's houses are usually not Pokestops. The people's houses
What?
are not. No.
Not
Um,
usually, but it's been happening.
The way
You can throw lures out to your house.
lures are only at Pokestops. No.
Oh, they're
Lures are
only at
at
Pokestops?
Now, the reason that some people's houses are Pokestops is because in very rural areas there's like nothing around. So around my house, there's not really much. And the 3 Pokestops are one's like some historical plaque, one's a post office, and one's a fire hall, which is very common for Pokestops and stuff like that, like public places that I don't think of the right word for it. I don't know, like government buildings, I guess, in a sense, or other, frequently
High
visited
traffic
Places of
areas.
interest.
Yeah, not necessarily high traffic, but places everybody knows about.
Or if not, ones you'll learn about soon if you play Pokemon Go.
Yeah. So essentially, what you'll do is you go around, collect Pokemon, capture them using your phone. You throw Pokeballs and stuff at them. Level up the Pokemon, evolve them, and then there's certain gyms which are essentially the same thing as the Pokestops. Is they're at certain locations, and you use your Pokemon to fight these other Pokemon at the gyms if they're the same team or if they're a different team as you. And you can capture that gym, and you get like in-game credits and stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
It's important to note, though, the fighting doesn't work like traditional Pokemon fighting.
No, it's essentially just tap the screen as fast as you can because servers won't work if you don't. So.
And there's no point in dodging. Just tap, 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 tap.
Yeah, no, I mean, there would be a point in dodging. Like, dodging is very powerful in this game. However, unless you live in, like, rural Missouri where there's 5 other people playing the game in your area, you're never going to get the opportunity to because the amount of lag that happens during fights is astronomical. Because servers, God forbid they work correctly. The way the game tends to work is everything will be fine in the morning. And then right around like 7 o'clock, 7:30 most days when everybody gets out of work on the West Coast, it usually just crashes. Or whenever a new thing gets released, it just crashes.
Okay.
So most days it's down a few hours.
Yeah. I wanted to give the servers the benefit of the doubt at first, simply
did.
because people were downloading the game before it was technically released. So I was just like, okay, it's fair. It wasn't released fully everywhere yet, so the servers are going to be a little bit overwhelmed because people are installing it through third parties.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely give it the benefit of the doubt simply because like it's the biggest mobile game in history
Yeah.
today.
But even then,
There's
like,
no way you would have prepared for
once it got a hard launch, they still haven't fixed the servers by the
that.
sounds
No,
of it.
they haven't. Um,
I don't know if they possess the
not at all.
capability to do so,
Um,
given that they got just
they're a team of
blasted.
30 people. I learned. They have absolutely no PR.
It's important to
whatsoever.
announce that this is Niantic that we're talking about, not Nintendo, not the Pokemon Company.
They have absolutely no PR, and what that means is that right now there's a very game-breaking bug. So it might not. It's probably not even a bug from what people have realized. It might have been something intentional to help the server load somehow. The big part of the game is when you're walking around these different places, it'll show you which Pokemon are near you. Now you can either have a Pokemon that's 1 step, 2 step, or 3 steps. 1 step means that it's closest to you, and you just have to find the general direction of where it is, and it'll appear on your map. 3 steps is obviously the farthest. Right now, every single Pokemon shows 3 steps, no matter where they are, how far away they are, anything like that.
That's good.
What people have found is that, along with something else that's been bugged. So when you catch a Pokemon, you look at its info afterwards, it'll actually show you where you caught it, like the street locations and stuff. And that hasn't been working for around the same exact time. And after some digging, some people realized that the API that is being used by them, like fetching like Google's API or whatever, however they have it set up, it's coming back invalid. And the way they have it is it's almost next to impossible to do it accidentally. So what it seems like someone did is they may have made it invalid for the time being. People guess to relieve some sort of server issue. Nobody knows because they haven't said a single word. The only thing they've said on their Twitter over the past couple of days is they asked Soldier Boy what's his highest CP Pokemon.
Sounds like they could use a
they're
social
doing
media
very well
manager.
as a company. I figured by now they would have been like, "Hey, Nintendo, can we borrow like one of your like probably 1,000 PR people like for maybe like a week?"
Yeah. Can you help us out a little bit?
the game is good. It's very bare bones right now. But my biggest complaint and issue is that there's just no communication whatsoever.
Yeah, it's lacking that support that we were talking about that Blizzard is great about earlier. That community interaction.
Exactly.
It sucks when there's a problem and you don't know when it's going to be fixed, or even if they're aware it's a problem because they're silent.
Exactly.
Yeah. One of the most interesting things about Pokemon Go for me has just been watching almost everybody playing this damn game.
So like I went downtown last week, multiple days on multiple nights, and I don't go downtown very often. I probably went downtown, other than like hockey games, more in the last week than I have in the last year. And
to be fair, this is still close to launch that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Too.
Which even then, I just didn't expect it anywhere near the kind of reception it's getting.
Oh yeah, nobody did.
But yeah, I went downtown and like I expected maybe like 50 people. There were hundreds of people, and like it's hard to put that in perspective. But like you're essentially going down an area a couple hundred yards, and it's like shoulder to shoulder. People are sitting in grass. Like I've never seen anything like it, and it's a phenomenon. It really is, and it just blows my mind how many people are playing it and what it's people.
Like Joe and I were downtown too, and he was up, and we'd be sitting there just like having drinks, and almost every person that walked by was playing Pokemon Go.
That's the thing too.
Insane.
It's like if you were to walk downtown on a random night and someone is walking around with their phone out looking at their phone, there's like a 90% chance they're playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Absolutely. Yeah, one of the things I'm curious about too with Pokemon Go is the longevity that this game is going to have.
I definitely think that they need to add more stuff because right now there's no trading, there's no battling friends.
We know trading's coming.
It is coming. When is a whole different story.
Yeah, that we don't know.
Yeah, player battles was my idea, so.
It hasn't been a thing since the OG Pokemon or anything.
Nope.
No,
See,
I
back
definitely
then you
think
had to have a cable to plug your fucking SP or together or whatever color or whatever you had back in the day.
you also had to
Just a
like
Game Boy.
physically give people money in a store, and now you can just tap your phone and.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, no, they definitely need to add things to not make it just the flavor of the month type of game, which I have faith that they will do because they've been very communicative about that. It's just the bugs and how they're going about doing all of that is what they haven't been very good with, and that bothers me a lot because most game companies now will they'll have some sort of social media presence, whether it be a community manager or even a developer that says, hey, we're aware, we're working on it, don't know when, but whereas they haven't even been like, well, we're aware of this or anything like that. So.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because given a game, you would have at least expected to see like a thank you.
Yeah.
Instead of
Well,
silence. Maybe
I've
they're
never,
too busy trying to put out fires in their server room. Who knows?
I've never seen anything like this.
Jimmy spilled the coffee again.
I honestly don't think I'll see it. Like to this size and like how worldwide it's been.
Yeah. Everybody, young and old, playing Pokemon Go.
That's what blows my mind. Like my sisters who are 8 years younger than me, they play it. Like I grew up playing it when I was younger than them, and they love it.
I don't know how true this is, but I saw a story that's being passed around Facebook today about an animal shelter who was renting out pets or like dogs to adults who didn't want to catch or be seen playing Pokemon Go alone, so it looked like they were just walking their dog. And not only have they had, or it was like, what is it, $5 an hour? I think it was initially.
I don't remember.
But yeah, it was like a month or hourly rate. So they raised so much money that they waived all adoption fees for animals in the clinic. They're out of dogs for people to adopt because people have seen pictures of these dogs, have come down to adopt them. People who have taken dogs for a walk have decided to adopt the dog, to the point where they have to bring in other rescue dogs from other shelters in order to meet the demand to rent a walkable dog and to adopt these pets too, which is pretty neat. It's one of those effects that
businesses have been
nobody
taking
would have saw coming.
That's awesome.
Businesses have been taking like full advantage to this, and that's part of the reason I don't see it going away anytime soon. Is the amount of business and money it's attracting to local businesses and stuff.
Smart businesses.
Yeah.
Well, it's like SEO for brick and mortar buildings.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I could see it definitely slowing down come wintertime at least.
In Buffalo.
Nothing gets
where it gets really cold. If it's more mild, then
who knows though? To be completely honest,
maybe there'll be specific ice Pokemon you can only get during the wintertime.
Who knows? I definitely think they need to, if they want to make it last longer.
Yeah.
Need to work on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right now, to me, if they told me it was a beta, that wouldn't surprise me in any bit. That's kind of what it feels like. But it's a free game, so I can't really complain.
Yeah. That's another thing is I have no idea how microtransactions work in this. I know that they exist.
I've spent $10. They're not game breaking. They don't cause any sort of advantage in my eyes. Essentially, you can use.
It's tough to say that they offer any advantage when it's purely a PvE game right now.
In a sense, yeah, it is. I mean, you still battle other people's Pokemon for like gyms, and like you get currency. Like the currency you buy is the currency you get from holding gyms.
Okay.
So there's that, but like I bought extra Pokeballs because I ran out.
And didn't want to walk to a Pokestop.
I couldn't. Like that's part of the thing is like where I live. Like if I wanted to walk there at like midnight, I could do that, but that's just a 45-minute walk for me. But, like, well, the thing is too, I was downtown.
Convenience charges, essentially.
I was downtown. You don't with the amount of Pokemon that come up with like the lures, which lures attract Pokemon for everyone around a Pokestop. The amount of the Pokemon that come up from lures outweighs the amount of Pokeballs you have. So if you're trying to catch every Pokemon that comes up to increase your level, you're going to run out of Pokeballs. That's just how it works. Because there's just so much stuff you get.
Okay.
And I mean, you can buy like other various things. You can buy lures and stuff like that. It's not, in my eyes, it's not like any sort of advantage if you spend money.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the restaurants are cool. Like I guess like adding in that feature for lures is part of the selling point, right?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Definitely
Yeah.
is.
Going back to
It's
the
like their in-app marketing.
yeah, some of the more like heartwarming things I've seen stories asking people to like drop lures outside of children's hospitals so that kids have a chance to catch Pokemon and all that kind of nice stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that they have a very solid, very good thing going here.
Yeah.
Simply because it's Pokemon.
They
But
just need to hire a community manager.
you hire a community manager and just make sure they add what they need to add, and they have a game that can last a while.
Yeah. I think one of the things that should be added to is they should have a way for businesses to let them know either like, hey, is there a way we can get added, or hey, take us off
I
your
think
list.
they are. I think they are doing that.
Okay.
From what I've read, is that you can request and be taken off of like Pokestops and stuff.
Yeah.
To
So that
what degree
places like
that's
the
at.
Holocaust Museum are no longer a
Yeah.
Pokemon stop. Or
What
Pokestop.
to what degree they're actually doing that currently, I do not know.
Yeah. Nobody knows.
But I know that because they don't say anything. But I know that it's at least possible to do that.
That's good at least. So yeah, Pokemon Go, the craze that's sweeping the nation, getting people up out of their chairs for short periods of the time.
Can I say something? I want to say something about that. Is you know what?
It's the point of this
I don't
podcast.
understand that the people that find it necessary to go on Facebook or even say something to people in real life that essentially making fun of them for going out and playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because you have these people that are going out of their house that probably don't go out of the house very often. Most of them don't. Some of them do. Going out, going for walks, exercising, doing something they're having fun with, but
Yeah,
yet
doing something
you seem
social.
necessary. Yeah, you seem
positive.
it necessary to go out of your way to make fun of them, make them feel
Trying to
terrible,
ruin
I
this
guess,
experience for them.
and
Yeah.
just being a general party pooper in the sense, Debbie Downer, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it just it bothers me when people do that, and
It's one of those things that's just unnecessary. Just
it
like,
is. It really is. And you know, you say that go outside and you're still playing video games, but yeah, you're probably sitting inside watching your reality TV, 5 nights out of the week and
yeah.
sitting on your ass eating ice cream. But who am I to judge?
Hey man,
Yeah.
you just did what you said you didn't want done.
Yeah. And regardless, unless you're one of those assholes that's, playing Pokemon Go and driving, you're not hurting anybody by playing this game.
I've just seen so much of it that I was.
Yeah. There's been a lot of like rallying cries of support though, when that kind of stuff happens, which is nice to see. So I was good to see the communities rather for something positive rather than something negative, like all this garbage that's been happening on Twitter lately. But yeah, that's a whole other story. We're here to talk about video games and all that fun stuff.
What are video games?
Video games. Video games are something that are going to be possibly improved soon with the soft launch of the Vulkan API on desktops.
Yeah, let's hear about this here Starship you got going for us.
The Vulkan API. So for those of you who, I'm going to give you the layman's version because that's all that I know. An API essentially like helps your graphics card interact with the rest of your computer, translates directions, all that kind of fun stuff. And the Vulkan API is an alternative to like OpenGL, DirectX, and it's supposed to be a more efficient one than current versions of DirectX and OpenGL that'll rival DirectX 12 when that finally gets fully developed and released. It's only available for use right now with the Unreal Engine 4, the id Tech Engine 6, and the Source Engine 2, and I think maybe one other engine. And the big game that it supports right now, for most people anyway, is Doom, and I think the secondary one is Dota 2. Initial reports are saying that players who switch to the Vulkan API are seeing anywhere from a 4 to 40% increase or 4 to 14% increase in FPS just by switching API, which is pretty crazy. It just translates those directions much more efficiently so that your graphics card can do its job better, take better use of its resources. Yeah. I know it helps with CB, or it's reported to help distribute CPU loads as well, so that you see more even distributional loads across all your cores instead of one core being worked to its max and the other's not really doing too much, which is nice. Take advantage of all that power you spent all that money on as a computer gamer.
as well.
Yeah, I'm all for
I think
this
it's the
kind of
same
stuff.
people that produce that OpenCL or an OpenGL.
Competing with themselves.
It's I think it's Vulcan. They own it. Maybe they bought the technology.
Maybe.
I don't know because I was looking at their thing and they have a bunch of different like an overview of Kronos Group, Vulcan, OpenCL, OpenGL, OpenMax, WebGL. So it's like a lot of
Oh, so that Kronos Group owns all these individual projects.
yeah.
Yeah, so to read the straight from the mouth, the people who made it here, Vulkan is a new generation graphics and compute API that provides high efficiency cross-platform access to modern GPUs used in a wide variety of devices from PCs and consoles to mobile phones and embedded platforms. Right now, we only see Vulkan in use mainly on desktops.
Wonder how this will work with Crossfire rendering or sorry, Octane rendering.
I do not know. That is out of my skill set. Yeah, it's just nice to see competition. I'm always a fan of competition. Always nice to see another contender. Since apparently, if Vulkan continues to perform as well as it is right now, it's going to be the main contender to DirectX 12 by the sounds of it, which is nice because Microsoft is trying to shove DirectX 12 down everybody's throats through Windows 10. Even though it's supposed to be the best API to date, so it's always nice to have that another like heavy hitter.
Nothing like Windows trying to or shove anything down your throat.
Yeah.
Unlike Windows trying to shove itself down your throat.
Yeah.
Oh, just automatic install. I think we talked about that, right? Or was that not? Was that predating our podcast?
That might have been predating the podcast.
Okay, yeah, we would have definitely had a fun podcast about that one.
Yeah. So just a little tidbit for those of you in case you weren't aware. Vulkan API is available in Doom and maybe Dota. I haven't checked it because I don't play Dota, and it's worth checking out, seeing if you can't squeeze a little bit more power and performance out of your existing tool set. And before we wrap up the gaming podcast, I'm going to ask you guys, is there anything that you saw gaming related that you'd like to bring to the table?
Gaming.
No, not that I can think of.
How about you, Joe?
No, man. Been pretty silent on the whole gaming thing. It's been pretty hectic just trying to come back and had a lot to do. So just been playing what we've been playing, like Overwatch and catching up on some WoW stuff. So
Nothing wrong with that. So to wrap up the gaming portion of the podcast, I'm going to go ahead and ask what you guys have been playing. Something that went over at the start of the podcast, but once again I forgot about it and we skipped it. So that I'll own up to that. That's my bad. Yeah, Nick, you said that you've been playing Pokemon Go and before
Pokemon a lot. Hearthstone.
Hearthstone.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm gonna check out WoW this week. Overwatch, obviously.
Nice.
And I'm gonna check out WoW this weekend. So.
Nice. Hearthstone's still going well. Still enjoying that.
It's going. It's there.
Yeah.
There's a new adventure that's gonna be announced fairly soon. So
It's believed to be Karazhan based, right?
that is the guess. We will see.
It's exciting.
Doing it like next week at 11 o'clock at night, which I don't get. Whatever. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So how about you, Joe? What have you been playing?
Overwatch and WoW.
Okay.
Yeah, not really extensively, but yeah, been playing them. Been playing a lot more Overwatch, I think, the past week or so than I played in the last month. So
Yeah, it helps.
competitive has been
comp
more
is out.
encouraging.
Yeah. That added incentive to keep playing,
Yeah, for sure.
working towards those golden weapons and playing with the fun rank limbo.
Yeah, that's been pretty annoying.
Yeah. As for me, since we've last joined together, I've played quite a few things actually. I've played Overwatch and WoW, which we've talked about already. And I played and beat Inside on stream, which is Playdead's newest game. Playdead's the company who made Limbo, and boy, is that game an experience. I'm not going to say too much about that because I'm releasing parts of that Let's Play on my YouTube channel, which you'll be able to check out every Tuesday. A new episode goes up there. But that was, if you enjoyed Limbo, I will say this: if you enjoyed Limbo, you'll like Inside. It's worth checking out. To my own detriment, avoid watching any gameplay from it if you do intend on playing the game because the ending is surprising. So don't ruin it for yourself. Just play it. It's a short experience, 3.5 hours, depending on how much you explore. Very much so worth going in fresh and knowing as little as you can about the game. Other than that, I checked out Fury, which is currently free on PS Plus, and it also got a PC release, and that's a boss rush style game that it's going to be really fun. Kicked my ass. I'm probably going to edit that first episode and throw that up on the YouTube channel eventually too. I'd like to continue doing that one, but I think a full Let's Play of that one's going to have to be put on hold until I get a capture card in order to do justice to the capture quality of that game. And then yesterday on stream, I checked out demos for the System Shock Alpha, the System Shock Remaster Alpha, and a point-and-click adventure called The Dream Machine, which is actually 4 years old, 4 years old. But it just popped up on my Steam recommendations, so I decided to give that a go. The System Shock Alpha is very much an alpha. It's really broken. My first time through, the second enemy I encountered was invincible. My hits weren't registering at all. It's not optimized at all. If it is optimized, it's optimized poorly. I was most surprised to see that it's being made in Unity, which sucks, because goddamn Unity has horrible options menus. But from what I remember, I haven't played the original System Shock in a long time. It seemed pretty familiar. Seemed to capture the atmosphere created by the first one, so I'm looking forward to seeing that full game when it gets released. And the demo for the Dream Machine was rather short, but it's this really cool clay and real life material aesthetic that's used to create all the scenes through stop motion. And it was an enjoyable little 7-minute demo, I think. And I had fun with that.
Like Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, kinda. It
That's cool.
reminded me of that. And I love that aesthetic, whether it be like Tim Burton stop motion stuff or stuff like Wallace and Gromit. So that helped up my enjoyment that I got out of that. Oh, and I also checked out the Cunning Stunts DLC for GTA Online. That was a lot of fun. I checked that out with members of Lawrence Sontag's community from Funhouse. And I checked out the first episode of The Wolf Among Us, which I started playing on stream too. And those are both fun. Recommend checking out both if you haven't already. So yeah, I played a whole gambit of things this week. None of them
A
new,
gambit.
besides the WoW patch.
A gambit.
But it was nice because for the longest time I was only playing Overwatch, and that's it. And a little
How
bit of
terrible
Rocket
is
League.
that, Chris? How terrible is just playing Overwatch? Please
It's
tell
not
me.
terrible. I quite
Terrible
enjoy
it
Overwatch.
is.
It was just nice to have a little bit of a breath of fresh air, if you will, in my gaming variety, since I play so many goddamn games normally.
A breathe.
I breathe. But yeah, so that was fun. That was interesting. It was nice to do that. Enjoyed all those games I talked about, so if you're interested in checking out any of them, I can recommend doing so. But yeah, that is going to bring us to the end of the gaming portion of the podcast. And that leads us to the design part of the podcast.
Oh, hey.
Hey. And the first item on the docket for design and content creation is that Buffer released their Instagram publishing process, which is exciting and still frustrating because Instagram is a pain in the ass still. But it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that, I mean, I think it's awesome that Buffer got it, but I wish they would have, like, made it more evident that you needed to go accept the posts. Like, I didn't see any, like, videos or, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like, because I try to use it to schedule something,
Mm-hmm.
for Thursday, and I totally missed the notification, like you're saying, that you need to post it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that going into it, and I should have expected it because I knew how shitty the API was from Instagram.
Yeah.
But
I think it's important to point out that none of this is Buffer's fault. It's all
no, yeah.
Instagram's fault because they're so goddamn strict with their API.
Mm-hmm.
Similar products exist to this Buffer for Instagram, where you would essentially write your copy, get the image ready to go, and have it stored in Buffer, and then Buffer would autofill the form for you. It just can't publish it for you. So like Joe was saying, it generates a notification telling you that, oh hey, this post is ready to go. All you have to do is actually post it yourself, which can be frustrating.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to see one day, please, Instagram, one day, open up your goddamn API to allow us to auto-publish. You would see so much more daily active users, I think, if you just made it easier to publish on your platform. I just don't get why they don't allow it. Everybody else does. Instagram's stuck in the mud.
Some of it is, I think, that Facebook wants to control the experience, and I feel like that's how Instagram's always been, where it's like, you can't use it online. Well, okay, well, you can use it online, but you can't do this. You can't do that. So like they've always had these restrictions where you have to go to the app if you want a deeper or rich experience.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because you want to keep people in that ecosystem, but at the same time, it's created almost more of a negative impact, I feel like, than a positive sometimes, where it's like, I'd really love to use Instagram, but it's a pain in the ass to use it, so I'm not going to use it.
Yeah, it's a barrier to entry for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, like, even when they introduced the fucking new ad accounts, so you have multiple accounts on one thing. Yeah, that's great. Well, you also locked everybody else who doesn't have that feature yet out of their accounts, so they can't log out. That's like, what the, like, seriously, that was like the worst rollout ever. I was like, holy crap, I can't even log out of my account to log into the other one now. I have to wait until the bug gets fixed so that I have both accounts.
Yeah, I remember when that first went live, I was still managing multiple accounts at that point. Technically, I am now, but we had a whole conversation about it because it had apparently launched for Android first, and it was late to you, and then when it finally got to you, it was bugged for you, and it's a whole debacle. Yeah, it's interesting you brought up Facebook as part of that, though, because Facebook allows, through their API, allows you to publish through like Buffer and third-party sources. So
yeah, but it's more open of a platform than, I mean, it wasn't built for mobile.
That's true.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's like, think about who are the people that sponsor posts, all those things. Like, all the people that are investing money probably utilize all the essential add-ins. So you're pissing the wrong people off when you do shit like that.
Yeah. It makes nobody's life harder by allowing these, publishing services. And you're going to see more activity on your site, if anything, if you allow these auto-publishing sources, because people are going to be encouraged to publish more often just because it's easier to do so. You're just making people's lives easier.
And that might have been it, too, is like, a while ago there was like a big content aggregation trend where even Buffer, when I first started using Buffer, gave you articles to post that were like similar to what you were posting, you know what I mean? So if you started posting something, they'd find articles that were correlated so that you can add them to your queue, which there's a lot of still sites like that where you can just go and search a topic and find 70 articles you can repost, you know what I mean? But that's just the nature of the game. People don't want to spend hours searching for content, but I think Instagram wanted to limit that. They wanted those precious pictures. They wanted you to be like, okay, if I want to post a picture here, I have to go through all the steps to do that. And because I'm doing that, that image is going to be thought through. It's going to have quality. It's going to have some kind of attained value through that process that limits what, all this aggregated content is going to drip into our system. So, I mean, it's more of like a purist thing, I feel like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of how they've been. That's like, well, Facebook is Facebook, but Instagram is, the friggin' like art studio of Facebook, like it's the museum.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure. I guess that's an interesting point I didn't really consider. Is they do it to, not disencourage. What would the word be? To prevent spam, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it drives
people to use. So many steps to publish on that platform. That's interesting.
If you think about the feed, right? Like the feed is probably like a 2 2-inch image by a 2-inch image or something like that. And almost one image pretty much takes up your whole screen.
Yeah.
So you have to scroll through like 75 posts from one user in a day. You're going to be fucking pissed.
Yeah, especially
Right?
with
So
the
that
way that their
ruins
new
that
algorithm
experience.
works.
Yeah. So, I mean, I enjoy the app. I mean, I'm at that point where the experience in the app is good enough for me. Although I'm somebody who kind of
As a consumer, are
already,
you saying?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And as somebody who like uses apps and kind of manages them myself, like as far as Twitter
Mm-hmm.
and like different, outlets where you can create different lists and functionalities where you can mute certain users and stuff like that. You can manage it yourself, but I think Instagram's kind of put that into their system, itself, which it sucks for marketers, but they want you to use their alleyway to
Yeah.
do that. So it makes sense as a business and as somebody who wants something to look excellent and kind of keep that. I mean, it's one of the most pure forms right now, right?
Yeah.
Instagram. So the videos are really good. The photos are usually really good. So
Yeah, to play devil's advocate too, I think you'd argue anybody who's using an auto-publishing tool is going to go through the steps to make sure the things that they're posting are quality. Just to kind of play devil's advocate for a second there.
I guess.
Like you're going to go through the process of scheduling posts. You're going to want to try to make sure that you're posting public or quality stuff.
The account's worth following, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's still a lot of shit out there too.
Oh yeah,
you know?
there's always going to be shit posts. It's not going
There's a lot of
anywhere.
people selling shit. There's a lot of people just that don't know how to use social media, and that it's the nature of marketers to break it. You know what I mean? That's what Gary Vee always talks about. Is it's the nature of marketers to take social media and try to get as much as they can out of it, and in doing so, they break it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why we have algorithms. That's why we have all these things, is to filter out what people that are trying to sell and people that are spamming are trying to get is the noise, the
Yeah.
connection. Yeah.
I appreciate your efforts to filter out the bullshit, but just give me a timeline. I'll scroll past it myself, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like it. It's kind of like a fuck you to everyone else. You know what I mean? That's kind of like my personality. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to do what we want to do here, and you're just going to work around it. So, I mean, even though I hate it,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I respect it. I don't like it.
Yeah. The worst part is, like, if you don't like it, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
Go to a
exactly.
different mass photo publishing platform? No, because it doesn't exist. It doesn't have the user base. It doesn't have
what
the
is
following.
Flickr?
It doesn't have the audience. Yeah. Instagram's like the site to post, short videos and photos right now. So
Yeah.
got to play by their rules or not play at all, and it's not really worth it for anybody who's into marketing through social media to not play on Instagram. Regardless of what you do.
Does anybody even Vine anymore? Like, I'm sure there's people that Vine, but they probably post those
A
Vines
lot of
on-
those people have migrated to YouTube
Yeah.
because
okay,
they knew that Vine was the dying platform. Occasionally, you see stuff pop up from Vine now, and it reminds me like very early of like early YouTube. It's all like viral video stuff you see pop up on Vine that survives Vine, that has a lasting appeal on Vine. And then most of the people who use Vine have translated to YouTube because that's where the money is too. That's where the promotions are. It's where like the lasting revenue is. So yeah, and now they've switched from Vine to Live Vine through Periscope and all those other kind of things.
Yeah.
It's kind of an insult to Periscope to call it Live Vine because it's just a live streaming platform. But
I mean, Periscope is a different experience, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of, and I think it's interesting how they've kind of shaped it now, where it's more of just like that really limited social experience. It's almost more like Snapchat now than it is like a streaming service, because before it was like you're able to watch those videos, and they've kind of tiered it off until it's like now it's like, okay, this is more of a direct content stream.
Yeah, it makes it very hard to go back and find streams that have ended and rewatch them, and a pain in the ass to do so too.
Yeah. So
But
they're
yeah,
trying to create that like short cycle of content.
That analogy
has
to
to
Snapchat, I think, it's good. It's pretty apt.
Yeah, because
You're
is this
creating
guy-
those in the moment experiences, which is what live streaming is all about, essentially.
yeah, yeah, but the thing about those short ones is they have to be rich, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, it comes together between Snapchat and streaming, which is kind of cool. And I
Mhm.
know there's like a lot of people that use that, you know, bands at least. I'm sitting around, I'm just writing lyrics, I'm just chilling, I'm
Yeah.
on tour, and that's a great way to like engage. Like even if you're not hitting everybody, it's just like a live stream for yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's for your personal brand. So it excels great for personal brands. I know for a while, like even Gary Vee, right? Like he was big in Twitter video. Well,
Mhm.
I can Periscope you. I can talk to you live in a cab.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cab for the next 5 minutes. Jump in Periscope.
Yeah.
Let's talk. And
And
you have his
now
face on your mobile screen.
talking to you, yeah,
Yeah,
rather than just like
exactly.
a Twitter AMA kind of thing.
Yeah,
And now that
yeah.
Facebook's jumped on that bandwagon, we've seen even more adoption
Oh
of
my God,
that
yeah.
instancing of like short live streams, and brands are using it on there because hey, we already use Facebook. Why not take advantage of this thing that allows us to generate, like a genuine experience with our user base?
Yeah.
It makes sense. The Achievement Hunter guys have been using it, the Facebook one specifically, and I know I've seen a bunch of people pick up this streaming thing for better or for worse, and it's certainly not going anywhere.
Yeah, I would like to see a webinar competitive version come from Facebook that competes with Google. I would really like to see that.
That's fair.
Like a
Even
Google Hangouts,
yeah,
you know,
see
that'd
their
be cool.
like messaging app expanded to include that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be neat.
I mean, maybe it would be like a bot integration. I don't know. They're really big about bots, and everybody's bot. Like Slack invested a bunch of money into bots now.
Yeah,
Um, so that's kind of where it's going. But maybe it's a new chat bot that lets you do video conferences. I don't know. Something cool like that.
yeah. Going back to Pokemon Go for a second, it ties back in. One of the other like little side effects from Pokemon Go is a bunch of people realized, oh hey, if we have the YouTube gaming app on our phone, we can live stream ourselves playing Pokemon Go from our phone and still talk to our audiences through that. So
Yeah,
that's pretty neat. You see a lot of YouTubers making Pokemon Go content now, even like little live streams, because you can use your front-facing camera through YouTube Gaming, so you can have
it's
your
cool.
camera set up while you're walking around playing Pokemon Go, talking to your audience. It's pretty neat. Pretty neat to see that platform evolving to stay
I
with you on
bet
the
you
go.
Snapchat's freaking out about that too.
Yeah,
Like they don't offer that screen capturing service because they want everything to be like so genuine. But at the same time, in that scenario, it hurts them because there's competitors that can deliver that experience.
yeah. I thought for a while, I thought at one point I had heard something about Snapchat offering a live streaming, like a short live video feature, but maybe I'm confusing that with something else.
Um, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember anymore either. I thought there was a live thing, but
It
maybe
was like a
not.
memories thing
Yeah,
that
no,
collects
that's
your old Snapchats or whatever.
this might have been old
Or you
news.
can import it, I guess. You can import from your camera roll.
That's
I don't know.
nice.
So I guess you can upload videos
Oh, I'm
to
thinking
your
of
story.
live stories. That's all. It's just like videos from the events as they happen, but even then, that's not live. It's just an event
Yeah,
that's
it's
taking
similar to
place
the
that
Twitter
you can, yeah, start a short
thing.
video too. Okay. I'd be interested to see how many adopters Snapchat would have if they were to add a live streaming capability.
Yeah, it would kind of break their platform, but they already have more people than Twitter anyways. So
Yeah. Well, so does Pokemon Go now. Well,
yeah,
more active users than Twitter. Not and
yeah, but that
a
would be a
larger
good
install
reason,
base.
right?
Yeah.
Hey, this other app that you can use on a cell phone just overtook every social media platform, including the top games
Yeah.
in mobile
Including
category.
Facebook, Twitter,
Should probably
all the
figure out how to
games.
integrate that into our platform for sharing.
Yeah.
Like
This is popular right now. We should
there's
figure
no
out
way
how to
that's
take
not a
advantage of
meeting you
this.
have.
Oh yeah. If you're smart. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, APIs continuing from gaming to design. It's exciting. I'm kind of biased when it comes to talking about streaming and the potential for streaming because it's something I'm actively pursuing and have an active interest in. So I want to see it thrive and survive and spread to as many different platforms as it can. Maybe one day we'll see, now that Twitch supports fucking live eating, we'll see Twitch have their own integrated live stream through their mobile
Live
app.
eating. What did they call it again? Mukbang?
I think something like that.
Yeah, mukbang.
What do you
That
think,
shit's
Nick?
funny.
Now that Twitch is returning to their Justin TV roots, would you like to see them incorporate a live streaming capability from their app, from their mobile app?
I think that I don't. I don't agree necessarily with what Twitch has been doing lately to their site.
Mhm.
Here comes Nick.
I get it as a business standpoint,
Yeah.
but at the same time, the purpose of Twitch was to make a separate
Gaming specific.
gaming
Yeah.
specific place, and you are starting to go very far away from that.
Yeah.
It's like a horizontal service instead of a vertical service.
I think part of it too is going back to that conversation we were having earlier where they don't want to lose those big streamers and the streamers are going, "Hey, I want to do other stuff. Can I do other stuff?" And Twitch is going like, "Yeah, just please don't leave. We'll let you eat with your friends. We'll let
That's-
you paint. We'll let you edit. We'll let you dance."
That goes back to the same thing with they're hesitant to ban big streamers because they only care about the money. I get the social eating thing, whatever. It doesn't bother me
interesting.
too much.
Yeah.
The creative stuff I get as well. The straw that broke the camel's back for me was the fact that they have the Republican National Convention and the next week the Democratic Convention.
Yeah.
I don't. The only thing that says to me is that we just want the money. We don't care about anything else because those two things do not serve any sort of purpose and any point to be on Twitch.
Yeah, they're not even, what do you call that brand? What? They're not on brand.
Brand agnostic.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, I actually share Nick's opinions right now.
I get it that
Um,
like you don't like. There's the same opinion that you don't have to watch it. It's your choice as to what you want to watch.
mhm.
However, when I'm coming to a website for a specific thing, I want that specific thing. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. I don't go to Walmart because if I'm trying to find like shoes, I don't go to Walmart. I'll go to a shoe store because I just want shoes. I don't want to deal with everything else.
Mhm.
Same reason,
Specialization.
which was created for gaming specific related
Yeah.
things, and it's starting to fall.
Because
I don't get the mukbang.
it
I
came
get
out
the
of
creative.
Justin TV, which was you could stream anything on Justin TV. It wasn't gaming specific. And then Twitch is like, "Oh, hey, there's a large demand for this gaming thing. Maybe we should create a completely separate platform for just gaming." And they did. And now they're starting to sway back towards those Justin TV roots. And what all those other ones like Azubu and other ones. It's interesting. I went to go look up the Twitch mission statement, which is actually harder to find because they don't have a concrete mission statement. They have a mission published in a letter from the CEO on August 25th, 2014 that read, "We want to create the very best place to share your gaming and life online." And that mission continues to guide us. I'm curious if it's always been that since 2014 or if that's been edited recently.
Not sure.
I'd be curious to do a little bit of research. Because if
Fair
it's
enough.
always been your gaming and life, and maybe they've had plans from the start to expand it past gaming, or maybe that's just what the business model is right now. Like you said, they're just following what's popular.
Yeah, it's hard to know for sure.
The thing is, Twitch isn't going anywhere. People on Twitch aren't
No.
going anywhere. Unless
No,
something
it's-
big happens, but I
Which
don't
definitely
see that
isn't
happening
going
anytime
anywhere
soon.
anytime soon, but I don't agree with what they've been doing recently.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, it's sad to see.
I can spend a whole podcast on that.
We might have to do a Twitch special, which is ironic because we're broadcasting this on Twitch. But
Hey, man, we are users of
Yeah.
this service, therefore we should
it's
take
feedback
our right
Twitch.
to.
Yeah.
It's in the Constitution, man.
In the Constitution.
If
And
you're
there's just- if you go to the About page on Twitch
not
now,
represented correctly,
their banner says social video for gamers,
oh,
which is interesting.
all gamers like mukbang. Yeah, that's a true fact.
I get that. I get the mukbang thing because
it's like a subculture
there are
of.
a lot. No, I think it's more of Twitch in the past has been very critical of its rules in a sense with non-gaming related content, which is haha, that's funny. Um, but I know there are certain streamers that sometimes because they stream all day, they'll eat on stream,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're eating for a prolonged period of time on stream, they
Technically violating the terms of service.
technically, yeah, that's what I look at it as. Like they want to say it's because of this whole thing in Asia, which I think is partially right, but
Like,
I don't know. Who knows? Honestly, who knows at this point?
yeah, it'll be interesting where it goes forward. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna suddenly like retract their social eating or some of their creative platforms, and I don't think they should.
No, not at all. I'm perfectly okay with the creative stuff. It's
Yeah, keep the
best.
politics off Twitch.
Exactly.
Yeah, that just blows my mind. Oh, blows my mind and then leaves a bad taste in my mouth. That's where I'm at with that right now.
Yep.
Bad taste and mind blown.
So to steer the discussion back towards design anyway, is there anything else big in the design world that happened, Joe, since we last spoke?
I don't know. Did I bring up Product Hunt when I was here last time?
I don't believe so. That doesn't sound familiar.
So Product Hunt is this really cool site, and it's kind of like interesting how they've segmented it, and I'm probably late to it in the sense that I haven't seen the early kind of stages where they were developing it, and so it has categories like tech, gaming, books, and podcasts, and it's really towards like SAS stuff. So
Special Forces? What?
yeah,
No?
Special Forces, software as a service. That acronym always trips me up because it's double A. But it's like where you can discover applications, web applications, plugins, a whole bunch of tech stuff on the web, and it kind of feeds it to you in a nice format. So it's almost like you're looking at digital products, in the sense that you're rating them, people are engaging with them, and it's kind of a platform to launch those things and get an audience behind it um, in a more public format. It's like a Reddit almost for products such as Slack or something I've been using, Brackets, which is kind of an open source thing from Adobe, or even to kind of like product solutions to things as far as plugins for Chrome. So it provides a really cool source for stuff. Buffer put their original Pablo platform on there, and then Pablo 2.0.
Nice.
It's just basically a new way to find kind of web apps and kind of sort through them, track them, see what the changes are. An extension of it's like more of a social GitHub experience where instead of looking directly at the code or the synopsis by a developer, you're looking at more of a marketing sided version,
Yeah.
So it's a little more smooth, more imagery, more screenshots, more direct usage of the app or something like that. And I really like it because I've just been going through it and helping. It helps me, as far as kind of gathering new resources to use in my strategy and stuff like that. It's been really exceptional. And they send you a shit ton of emails, which I don't love, but I probably need to turn that down in a setting somewhere. But besides that, it's a really cool way to find and discover new technology to use, and not so much a design sense. Well, some of it, like, so if you're an entrepreneur and you want to make web posts, there's a lot of great ways to find resources for images or things to create images and stuff like that. So, I mean, in a sense of like simple design or solutions to products and services online, it's a great way to kind of find those.
Yeah, I see right up at the top here. There's even a design tools filter you can click right from the start. It'll come in handy. Yes. Upload sketch documents to clouds. Create beautiful designs in seconds. So it's some of it's apps, some of it's tools. Like I see a UX tools post here. It's one of the more active posts by the looks of it too. Filter and compare multiple design tools
and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Might have to peruse this for potential topics. Like I noticed here that they mentioned that little mini NES that I had originally slated to talk about, but then decided that wasn't really newsworthy. Yeah, definitely something I'll have to include in the linked up. So if you're interested, you can check it out. The address right now is just producthunt.com though. So if you want to check it out, you can do it there, and at the link down below.
Yeah, like here's a cool thing like Sketch Cloud. So it allows you to share, Sketch documents with other users. So kind of brings that cloud computing element to Sketch, which is a really nice solution to Illustrator and Photoshop, and is kind of like the industry standard right now for web design as far as startups and new technologies.
Anything that
Uh,
makes sharing easier, I'm all for that.
yeah, so it's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, I think a lot of these things are really highly impactful solutions and are well backed.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Any other worthy topics you got coming out of the design camp this week, or content creation camp?
Yeah, I mean, as far as new things I've been using, not really. Just
Okay.
kind of same jam,
Keeping on
new
it.
week. Yeah.
Yeah. Top tip of the
So,
week: keep on keeping on.
yeah, I mean, I'm at the point right now where like I need to make some more content for Left Click, and I think as far as for me, this is kind of one of those push experiences where it's like I just need to get more and more out
Yeah.
continuously, and as we go through that stage, I think that's a good learning point for others, that it's like, you once you have everything set up, it's not the end. The
Yeah.
end is never.
Yeah.
And
Because you got to keep on it.
yeah, exactly.
keep that grind
to keep
going.
that audience, you
Yeah.
have to make sure that you keep contributing to
Oh
the
yeah.
content.
We were talking about
communities.
that earlier this week because I've been putting more content up on my YouTube channel, but because I had never initially intended for YouTube to be a main thing, Joe made me aware that my YouTube channel is damn near impossible to find because I
Yeah.
had paid almost no attention to it at the start. So I have to go back, and now that I'm posting to it regularly, and I'm gonna try to keep posting to it regularly, to like add a button to it on my Twitch page and add a link to it on my Twitter profile and all that kind of stuff. Just part of the learning experience, trip and stumble every once in a while. I might start learning After Effects, maybe, because I'm getting to the point with my edits of my videos where I think it might be kind of handy. So we'll
Yeah.
see. Always learning, always working, never stopping.
Yeah, man. So I mean, it's the grind. That's like how we fine tune our shit and
Yeah.
work strengths out.
It's how we get better. It's how we grow our audience, gain audiences, put our names out there. All that kind of fun stuff.
For sure.
I think with that inspirational nose to the grindstone meeting, we're going to go ahead and call it quits on episode 5 of Left Click Culture Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and reintroduce ourselves and kind of let you know what we got going on coming down the pipeline in the coming week until the next podcast. So, Nick, why don't you start us off?
I'm Nick. You can follow me on Twitter at DillPickles with 2 I's in the pickles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really got anything going on.
Okay, fair enough.
Actually, sorry to disappoint.
Be here for the next podcast?
Should be. I never
Should
make
be.
promises, but
All right, well, I'm going to start holding you to
see.
words here shortly
See.
for the next one. All right, so yeah. If you guys want to find more from Nick, his Twitter handle is underneath his little name. So you'll be able to click that once this goes live on YouTube, or just enter that into Twitter because you know how Twitter works. How about you, Joe?
Hey, my name's Joe, and my weekly paraphrase of the week is: there will be people in life who will mentally block you from going on and doing what you want. Look those people in the fucking face and tell them your truths. And that's from Gary Vee. And I think that sums up kind of what we're talking about, is just do it your way and
Yeah.
prove that you can do it your way.
I think that's good advice.
And my Twitter handle's there, so.
You got anything coming down the pipeline that people can look forward to?
You can always look forward to awesome designs at leftclickculture.com. But we should be shipping out more stuff soon. I definitely need to get on the train of providing some more graphics and solutions to the community, so keep an eye out.
Yeah, Joe's been busy coming back off vacation, catching up on work, so nobody can hold him at fault there. Needed the mental
Yeah.
vacation from staying up until 5
Definitely.
o'clock in the morning, making sure that the site was working and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. It was a couple of stressful months, but
Yeah.
we're getting somewhere, and it's been a good, awesome thing to do. So
Does remind
so-
me I do have stuff to talk about in relation to the site after the podcast, but
Sure.
that's going to wait until after we end it up. And to wrap things up, my name, as always, continues to be Chris. You can follow me on Twitter at ChrisBellerII, that little thing that's underneath my pretty little face right there. And this week, I don't have any extra videos coming up. I'm going to be working on editing the podcast and getting up videos. Tuesday is going to be a new episode of Tonight I'm Bad at Inside, in which I continue my Let's Play of Playdead's Inside. So you can look forward to that on my YouTube channel, which I'll link down below. And then Thursday, I have a new episode of the Community Cunning Stunts Let's Play I did with members of Lawrence's Twitch community. That's been a ton of fun. I've had a lot of fun editing those, and we had a blast playing those new maps. So yeah, Tuesday and Thursday I'll have videos for you guys, and then Thursday we'll be live again with the Left Foot Culture podcast at 8 o'clock Eastern at twitch.tv/leftfootculture. We look forward to seeing you guys then. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
See you guys.